Hello, everybody, and welcome back to 50 Shades of Tay. I'm Taylor Gonzalez with a day three recap of CinemaCon 2026. I can't believe day three is already over. That is insanity. It is going by so fast, but today was jam-packed. I'm telling you guys, from the moment I got up until now, right now it's 11:15 at night in Las Vegas. I have been busy attending presentations, so I'm going to break it all down for you. Because I didn't have time to do two separate videos, I'm combining the Universal Pictures presentation with the Amazon MGM presentation, so this might be a little bit of a longer recap, but I wanted to make sure I covered both studio presentations for you guys tonight. The day started off at 9:30 a.m. with a screening of the upcoming DreamWorks film Forgotten Island. It is from the directors of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, Joel Crawford and Daniel Mercado. I absolutely loved the film. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was gorgeous. It doesn't come out till September, so it's quite a ways away. What we saw had some scenes that were not 100% done with animation because it's so far away. But what was completed was so beautiful, you guys, and I think everyone's going to love it. I can't say too much because we cannot review it, but I can say I loved it, and I have my social media reaction up on my Instagram and on my Twitter. On the way out, they handed out these very cute mixtapes since music plays such an integral part in the story of Forgotten Island. But it's not just a mixtape. It is, let me show you. It's a cassette that is a Bluetooth speaker. How cool is that? That is such an awesome giveaway, and it comes with a little charger too, so I can bump Smash Mouth wherever I am. All right, so the first presentation today was Universal Pictures, and they kicked things off with a bang. The lights were dimmed. There was a DJ on set, and I didn't know what to expect. I was like, "What kind of music are they going to play? What's this DJ here for?" All of a sudden, Drop It Like It's Hot started playing, and Snoop Dogg himself came out on stage. I want to say he did like 4 or 5 songs throughout his time on stage, but maybe like 30 to 45 seconds of each song. And I joked that it's because they didn't pay him enough to do the full songs. But it was so cool to see him on stage. But I was really confused. I was like, why is Snoop Dogg on stage? Like, what does this have to do like with what is about to be announced or what's coming? They're doing a Snoop Dogg biopic at Universal Pictures. Very excited for that. It was hilarious though because he presented the I want to make sure I get her position right. Chairman of NBCU Entertainment, Donna Langley, with a gold chain, and on it was the Universal logo. Such a cool performance and an awesome way to announce that you're getting a biopic to perform on the CinemaCon stage in Las Vegas. All right, so after Snoop Dogg, it's like, how do you follow up a surprise Snoop Dogg performance at CinemaCon? Well, Universal had the answer to that question, and the answer is to bring out Christopher Nolan. So Christopher Nolan comes out on stage, and he got a huge standing ovation as he deserves. And it was time to talk about the Odyssey. He was asked, why the Odyssey? Why is that the next story that he wants to tell? And he said, the Odyssey is a story that has fascinated generation after generation for 3,000 years, which is insane to think. He said the entire Odyssey film has been filmed on IMAX cameras, and it has been a long held dream of his to bring the story to life. It was funny because he was talking about all the talent that is included in the Odyssey, and he said it would be quicker and easier to say who's not in the film than to list off, the huge roster that makes up the ensemble cast of the Odyssey. He said at the core of the film, it focuses on Matt Damon, Anne Hathaway, and Tom Holland. And then it was incredible. We got to see a huge extended scene with the Trojan horse, and it was beautiful. It was gorgeous. I think the excitement level that I already had way up here went up even higher after seeing that clip. And man, I need it to be in theaters already. It's going to be a long wait for that. All right, so after the Odyssey and Christopher Nolan cleared the stage, uh, Bowser himself from Illumination's Super Mario Galaxy movie came out, and Jack Black came onto the stage. Very cool to see him. They talked a little bit about the huge success of the Super Mario Galaxy movie. I was excited because I thought, oh, is this where they announce what the next Mario movie is going to be? But they did not, unfortunately. But so cool to see Jack Black for the second day in a row. He was at CinemaCon yesterday for Sony's presentation to talk about Jumanji, and then today he was brought back by Universal to talk about Mario. Very fun. So we moved from Mario to another animated film. This one was Minions and Monsters. I didn't know this before today. It's set in the 1920s, and I thought that was really cool because I didn't know when it was going to be set. But the minions find themselves looking for an evil boss to serve once again. And I also didn't know this. It focuses on them making movies. And I was like, wow, what a perfect movie to show off at CinemaCon. They showed us I want to say three extended clips of the film. There was like a train chase. There was a part I think that's in the trailer where they're fighting a bunch of like Vikings. It looks really fun, really colorful. I cannot wait to see the Minions and Monsters movie when it comes out. All right, so next up from Universal, we got a sizzle reel, and it showed off a few upcoming trailers back to back to back. There was One Night Only, Other Mommy, which is a horror film with Jessica Chastain, and Violent Night 2. I was so excited to see the Violent Night 2 trailer with Kristen Bell as Mrs. Claus. This one looks crazy. I hope that trailer's out. I have not had a chance. I literally just walked in the door, so I don't know which trailers have been put online yet. But if the Violent Night 2 trailer is out, you guys got to check that out. There's a scene with the gingerbread cookie cutter. Man, they always find a way to top themselves with like the gore and action in these films. All right, next up, the Fockers, Focker in law. It's very hard to say Fokker without, trying to sound like something else. But Ben Stiller came out on stage and he was so funny. He was like, "Hey, I'm the one actor that's not in the Odyssey." So I thought it was very funny to play on Christopher Nolan's joke from earlier. And he was talking about how all this time has passed since the last installment in the franchise. And he was joking about how that was always their plan, was to wait 15 years to make another one. And so he was saying he's basically the Robert De Niro in this movie since he's the father now with a daughter-in-law coming to meet him. And then out from the shadows emerged Robert De Niro, and he said that that was offensive to call himself the new Robert De Niro, and was asking okay, so Robert De Niro was like, "Oh, before I made the first Meet the Fockers, I was in this, this, and this," and then he was like, what would you say is like your Raging Bulls?" And Ben Stiller said Madagascar. And then De Niro asked if that was the one with the minions in it. It was, man, they were so good together. They showed off the trailer. I'm pretty sure that one's online. The Meet the Fockers trailer, or sorry, the Fokker in Law trailer. Ah, it looks so good. Ariana Grande looks hilarious in it. Man, when I'm done with this, I'm gonna watch that trailer again just because it was so funny. And can't wait. I can't believe it's been that long in between uh franchise installments. When they were leaving the stage, Ben Stiller said he will see us all again in 15 years for the next one, Project Hail Fokker. Hilarious. But yeah, Fokker in Law, check out that trailer. Looks great. So Focus Features was also included in the Universal panel, but they only had two trailers. It was very, very quick. They had Sense and Sensibility, and then they had Werewolf from Robert Eggers. You guys, it's almost Christmas. You know what that means? Another horror adaptation from Robert Eggers. I cannot wait. Werewolf looks so good. The quick shots. It was so quick. Uh, Looks great though. I was sitting with Rob and we looked at each other after and we were like, "Oh man, come on, Werewolf. Let's go. Let's go." It looks so great. Um, then Coleman Domingo came out on stage. Very cool to see Coleman Domingo on the CinemaCon stage and he brought out an up and coming director. I think you guys are gonna really, really want to check out this guy's movies. I think he has a lot of potential. He's very new to the scene. He goes by the name of Steven Spielberg. You guys, that was the first time Steven Spielberg has ever been to CinemaCon. It was so cool to see him. And before they got into Disclosure Day or their conversation, the MPA awarded him with the America 250 Award. I just thought that was really cool. And the president of the MPA, the Motion Picture Association, was talking about if you were to like make a map of all the different places that Steven Spielberg has filmed across America, like you would have all these different locations and have like a really cool road trip of all, from Jaws to E.T. Man, that is so awesome. So then after the award, Steven Spielberg gave a really nice speech about the theatrical experience and what this means to him and how this will definitely not be his last time at CinemaCon. He also talked about wanting to do a Western. Yes, please, please, sir. I would love that. Um, Coleman Domingo and Steven Spielberg sat down to talk about Disclosure Day, and I thought what he said was really interesting. I also thought there was a chance he was going to bring out an alien and just show us, tell us the truth, but that didn't happen. He was talking about how he loves to be scared and thrilled and sad all at the same time when in a theater. And he also talked about how audiences will find what they want to watch, whether the films are big or small. He was talking about how the theatrical experience also needs original ideas and original films. You guys, Disclosure Day is going to be Steven Spielberg's 35th film. Uh, Theatrically released film, 35th. I That's insane. He has released more films than years I have been alive. I I can't even imagine having a career like that. That is insane. Um, when talking about being at CinemaCon for the first time, Spielberg said that he felt like he belonged. It was just very cool to be there for the first time that he's ever been here. Um, he was talking about when he was a kid, he kind of had his own exhibition business, and he would have a bunch of kids from the neighborhood come over and watch movies in his living room. I thought that was really sweet. And he went on to talk about his curiosity with what's been going on in the night sky. And man, to hear him talk about aliens and just UFOs and UAPs and all these things, so exciting. And you could just tell in the room the excitement level was growing and growing and growing until finally they showed us this extended look at Disclosure Day. Ah, man, I'm like speechless. That look that they gave us was insane. I don't even know what to say about it other than I think that movie has shot up my list of most anticipated so fast after seeing it. There's this one part at the very end of the look that we got where it shows a deer, and as the camera pans, the deer turns into an alien, and I'm like, what? And then it cuts. I was like, oh, I need more. I need more. Man, it looks insane. He was saying though, I found this so interesting, and I 100% agree with him. Spielberg was saying they don't want to show anything from the third act of the film because he was saying today's audience, you show a lot of studios show the third act, and then the whole time in their mind they're thinking, where is that scene from the trailer that I saw? I know this is coming. Like, where is that scene? So I was like, oh, that's good. We have probably not even scratched the surface of what's going to be in Disclosure Day. Very excited. Uh, with that, it was done. It was over. That was the end of the Universal presentation. On the way out, they gave us these cozies, Disclosure Day cozies from Fandango. And inside, I got to use this tomorrow, is a ticket for a free drink at the Fandango bar. So thank you, Fandango. I will be using that for a vodka pineapple tomorrow. All right, so I wanted to make sure to also include Amazon MGM's presentation in this recap as well. They also, man, they blew me away. They had a piano on stage when we got there into the Coliseum, and I had no clue. I was like, what are they going to do with that piano? and they brought out John Batiste, and he played, I think, two songs for us on the piano, and it led perfectly into Michael B. Jordan coming out on stage, following up John Batiste's piano performance, and they showed us the first footage of the Thomas Crown Affair. And man, does that look insane. It looks so good, and it was cool. They introduced him as Academy Award winning Michael B. Jordan, and when he came out, he said he like can't believe like that's still a way that he's being introduced, and he said, it's like so nice to be introduced that way. Thomas Crown Affair, cannot wait. Um, I I don't know. I just think it's something you could tell he was very passionate about. He was talking about how this is like a movie he's wanted to make for so long. He talked about how the first time he saw the Thomas Crown Affair, he was 12, and then he joked about how he waited till he grew up a little bit to watch the thing the whole way through. But yeah, he was very passionate about it. He talked about the collaboration with John Batiste, who's doing the score for it. Man, they were talking about how proud they are of this film and how it's made for theaters and audiences who want to see stuff like this on the big screen. Okay, just wanted to double check. The Thomas Crown Affair will be releasing March of 2027. So the reason they were showing it off now is because I think that'll be before the next CinemaCon. So it's really cool to get this really early look. But yeah, March 2027, the Thomas Crown Affair, Michael B. Jordan. Can't wait for that. After Michael B. Jordan left the stage, this was very cool. So Mike Hopkins, who's the head of Prime Video and Amazon MGM, he came out to talk about the success of Project Hail Mary, which is in theaters right now. He was thanking everyone for showing it in their theaters and how well it's been doing. I think he said $525 million so far at the box office, which was great to hear. And to continue thanking everyone in the audience for the success, they brought out Phil Lord, Chris Miller, and Ryan Gosling, along with Rocky, who was on a screen in the background. They were hilarious on stage. They brought out one thank you note and one bouquet of flowers to thank the thousands of people in the arena. So Ryan Gosling handed the thank you note to a girl in the front row and asked her to read it and then pass it on, and then asked her to uh, either take one flower from the bouquet and pass it on, or just smell them and pass them on. And people in the front row actually did it. They were reading the letter and passing it on, and everyone in the front row was taking one rose or one flower from the bouquet. Such a cool thing. And it was really great that they came. They weren't even there to promote anything. They were just there to thank everybody for championing their original film. So I thought that was really sweet and just very cool to see them on stage and kind of taking like a victory lap and celebrating their hard work. All right, so next up we had Kevin Williams, who's the head of theatrical distribution for Amazon MGM, introduce the director of the upcoming Masters of the Universe He-Man film, Travis Knight, and he brought out Nicholas Gautzin and Camila Mendez. And oh, I should have mentioned this earlier. On the way into the Coliseum, you might have seen on my Instagram when I was sword fighting with Anne, they gave all of us the sword. Isn't this, it's foam, but it is awesome. And they came out on stage, they talked about the movie. Uh, they were talking about how there are so many muscles in this film and how excited they are for everyone to see it. And then Nick asked everyone in the audience to hold their sword up. He had a real sword on stage. It was so beautiful. And he screamed out loud, "By the power of Grayskull." Everyone yelled with him. And then on the screen was an extended look at the film. I want to say between the extended scene and the new trailer, maybe it was like 3 to 5 minutes of footage. Looks great. I cannot wait. That movie comes out in June. It comes out right at my birthday, so that's like my birthday movie this year is gonna be Masters of the Universe. Um, can't wait. Looks so good. It was a fight sequence in the scene that they showed us, kind of like on a freeway overpass. And man, does it look good? I'm just the one thing I'm really curious about is how long in the film is it going to be He-Man regaining the sword and regaining his powers, or is that just going to be something that takes place in like the first act of the film and then we move on from there? So I would like to know more about that, but can't wait for Masters of the Universe. Next up, there was a pre-recorded message on the screen from Jason Statham. He was pouring honey into his tea, and the honey kept going and going and going, leading into a clip of Beekeeper 2. The first Beekeeper was so fun and way better than I expected it to be. So I think this one looks great. Um, yeah, Beekeeper 2 coming soon. Next up, we had, oh man, I got so excited for this. So, the head of film at Amazon MGM, Courtney Valenti, she came out and talked about James Bond. She was talking about Denis Villeneuve coming to direct the next Bond installment. And then she said, "Oh, and everyone's been wondering like who's going to play the next Bond." So I was like, I looked at Rob. Rob was sitting right next to me, and I looked at him and I was like, "Is this it? Like, are they going to tell us who the next Bond is?" And she said they're taking their time and care, and they're really, working really hard to make sure that they do this correctly and that they don't have any more information to share at this time. And I was like, okay, all right. One day we'll get there. Hopefully, I'm in the room for that announcement as well. Next up, Hugh Jackman came out on stage and he came to talk about the Sheep Detectives. And I think this movie looks so fun for people who don't know what that film is. Hugh Jackman is reading a murder mystery novel, I guess is what it is, to a flock of sheep. And then I guess in the film, Hugh Jackman's character gets killed. And the sheep, they talk, they try and solve the mystery of his murder. But to join Hugh Jackman on stage was Nicholas Braun, who's also in the film from Severance. And they were talking about how fun this is and how there's not really films like this in theaters anymore. And before they showed us the extended trailer, they brought out Nicholas Galitzine, who's also in The Sheep Detective. And he was like, I'm back. I'm in all the movies this year. It was just really funny. They had such great chemistry. And then we got a first look at a lot of things like back to back. There was a film called A Cult Is My Passport. That one it looks like a really fun action film. And then this was crazy. Every once in a while on stage, something nuts happens, and this is one of those times. There are a bunch of dirt bikes racing on the stage, and people coming through the aisles of the Coliseum throwing fake money everywhere, and they were wearing like animal masks. It kind of looked like a little bit of a furry convention taken over Las Vegas, but it was actually for the new David Leitch film, How to Rob a Bank. And David Leitch and Pete Davidson came out on stage and they talked about their film. It's basically um, a group of people who go around robbing banks, but then they like showcase it on TikTok and YouTube and stuff. Like they broadcast how they do it. It looks really interesting. According to this is a quote from Pete Davidson. He said this movie is totally fucking insane. So there you go. That is probably a better description. David Leitch was talking about how this is something that you have not seen before. They went into a pre-recorded message on screen from Nicholas Hoult. Uh, Man, this one looks fun too. I don't even know that I knew this movie was a thing. Like, I don't know that I hadn't even heard of it before tonight, but I think it looks really fun. Uh, can't wait for that. Amazon had so many fun, like everything they showed off. I was like, can't wait for that, can't wait for that, can't wait for those sheep to solve this mystery. Um, then we went into, oh my gosh, this movie too. It's called Your Mother, Your Mother, Your Mother. So you say it three, that's the film title, three times. Uh, the new upcoming Mahershala Ali film looks so beautiful. When he came out on stage, he was talking about how this film, Your Mother, Your Mother, Your Mother, checked every box and how this is something as an actor, like he was so excited to like sink his teeth into and to get to portray this character. Man, it just looks great. And he teamed up with the director, Bassam Tariq, who was supposed to, I believe, direct Blade. So the two of them were going to do Marvel's Blade together. That so far has not happened, but in the meantime, they have made this movie, and man, does it look fun. All right, next up, they gave us a look at The Chosen Crucifixion. I don't know too much about this, but it looks like the Chosen series is getting a film. I believe they have put like episodes of The Chosen into theaters before, but this one is an actual movie made for theaters, uh, specifically. And then, man, oh man, this uh, all of these things so exciting, but this one might take the cake. Spaceballs 2. Man, director Josh Greenbaum came out and everyone went nuts as soon as we realized what was about to happen on stage with Spaceballs 2. Everyone was going crazy. They brought out the cast, including Bill Pullman, Daphne Zuniga, Josh Gad, Lewis Pullman, and Rick Moranis came out, you guys. He got a standing ovation too, very well deserved. Man, Rick Moranis is like such an icon. I grew up watching so many of his films, and to see him back is incredible. But it was hilarious because every time he was asked a question, someone else would cut in and answer for him. Because, everyone wants to hear what does Rick Moranis have to say about this comeback. First question that went to him, Josh Gad answered, and he was like, "Oh, I'll take this one." Then another time that Rick Moranis was going to speak, a pre-recorded video came up on the screen of Kiki Palmer, and she's like, "Oh, I'll take this one." And then uh, I think it was like one of the last questions. Rick Moranis was like, "Oh, actually, like I wrote something." He pulls a speech out, starts to unfold it, and then Mel Brooks shows up on the screen, and he's like, "I'll answer this one." His gave the most information, so Rick Moranis never got really a chance to speak. But when Mel Brooks interrupted, um, he talked about the title of the film. I just assumed it was going to be Spaceballs 2. It's actually going to be called Spaceballs, the new one, and I think that is so clever and so funny. But when they showed us this teaser and extended look um at the film, the craziest thing happened. So I was sitting with John and Ann and Rob, and in the teaser, they're talking about how like, this movie has been rumored for so long, and they showed a clip of John talking, saying, "Did you hear that they're making a new Spaceballs with Mel Brooks?" Okay, we all looked at him. We were all shocked. None of us knew that this was coming, and John Campea was in the footage that they showed on the screen in CinemaCon. So I'm hoping, I don't know yet if that is out online, but if it is, I'm hoping that that is included in what is released in the trailer online and not just something for CinemaCon. But that was so cool and so fun, and it was just like, man, that is so cool. John's part of the Spaceballs, the new one, teaser and extended look at CinemaCon. Very, very cool for that. Uh, but yeah, Mel Brooks was joking he couldn't be there tonight because he was seeing Fish at the Sphere. I just think if people weren't aware of Spaceballs, the new one, after this trailer drops, you're gonna be aware of it, and man, does it look fun. When we were leaving, actually, there were a bunch of like astronauts and people dressed up in costumes from Spaceballs, the new one, for people to take pictures with on the way out of the arena. It was very cool. Uh, Next up, we got a first look at Highlander. Henry Cavill looks badass in this film, this adaptation of Highlander. Uh, they're still filming, and they have a lot more to film. They listed off literally several countries that they're still going to go film in, but they gave us, it was a mix between like footage from the film and then also footage of them on set, like behind the scenes stuff. The action looks insane and the cast looks insane. Dave Bautista looks great in it, but Henry Cavill, man, this is going to be such a great role for him. I am so excited for when this comes out. I believe they said they would be back next year to show more. So I think Highlander's not going to be out till 2028, probably, especially if they're going to like several other countries to film. But they talked about the huge scope and scale of this film, the action of this film. I just can't wait. Next up is a film called I Play Rocky. And this one looks really great too because I didn't know a lot of the stuff that was in this footage. It's about the true story of making the film Rocky. And so uh, it's an actor. He sounded so much like Sylvester Stallone. It was insane. Um, and he was talking about how, Rocky is such an iconic film, and just I don't know. I'm trying to think off the top of my head because it's like everything you see all these trailers, all this footage, like back to back to back, but it's like some of the stuff that happened in the trailer, I was like, I had no clue that happened behind the scenes making Rocky. So it's like, this seems like one of those films. There's a lot of films that are like behind the scenes of making films, but this one is one that I feel like, oh, we need this. This is a crazy story. Um, for example, Sylvester Stallone didn't know how to box. At the end of the trailer, they were like, "Oh, how long have you been boxing, by the way?" He's like, "Oh, never, never." Um, it showed so Sylvester Stallone, he was going by a different name, and I want to say it was like Martin or Mike because he was saying he grew up with a lisp, and people would make fun of him for saying Sylvester. Crazy. I didn't know that either. Um, I just felt like this film is gonna really, I don't know, educate me. So I'm looking forward to that, and I think the young actor who plays Sylvester Stallone in it looks and sounds perfect, like perfect casting. Um, there was another thing too that I wanted to make sure to mention. Oh yeah. So Sylvester Stallone was saying that he, wasn't getting parts in films, so he wrote Rocky, and then the studios loved it and they wanted to buy it from him and they kept offering him more and more and more money, but he kept turning it down because he wrote this to star in it. And I was like, man, that is really inspiring. And the fact that he didn't take the money and let someone else take his role that he worked so hard on, it was just really cool to see, now all these years later, how it turned out for him. So that was a really cool trailer. But that was it for Amazon MGM. They did show like one more final like reel of here's a bunch of stuff coming in the future. There were a few more titles that were like sliced in there, but it just happened so fast. But I had such a great time today. On the way out from the uh, presentation from Amazon MGM, they gave us Verity, the Colleen Hoover novel, because there is a new film coming starring Anne Hathaway and Dakota Johnson with Josh Hartnett, which they did show a trailer for, and it looks fucking crazy. I have never read this book, but now that I have it, I have no excuse. I'm going to read this book and then I'm going to go see this movie. It looks nuts. Definitely check out Verity. Look for that trailer if that one's out. Looks insane. But it's already almost midnight, and the first presentation is tomorrow morning. Let's see. Tomorrow will be Thursday, April 16th. And the first presentation, it's going to be Paramount Pictures at 9:45 in the morning. Whew, it's going to be a rough turnaround. Followed by a filmmaker luncheon honoring Jon Favreau that will be at 12:15. And then Disney will present at 2:30 p.m. tomorrow. And then after that will be the Big Screen Achievement Awards, which I love going to every year. It's so fun. They honor a bunch of filmmakers, actors, directors. This year, some of the honorees will be Queen Latifah, Noah Centineo, uh, James Cameron. It's just gonna be so much fun. And then that's it. CinemaCon will have the Coca-Cola after party, and then it's over. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming and tuning into my day three recap, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for day four. In the meantime, let me know in the comments which of the films I talked about from Universal or from Amazon you're looking forward to the most, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.